Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd. Today's episode, Till the Blood Runs Clear, is where we begin a new story arc of Crichton beginning to understand how wormholes are created. At the beginning of the episode, he and Aaron are in his module, Farscape 1, which has been modified now with biomechanical parts from Moya, and is now in orbit around a planet which is experiencing solar flares. Now, he's testing his theory that a solar flare is a necessary element of creating the wormhole, which caused his original way of getting into the story. Anyway, with his theory on the slingshot effect and a solar flare, a wormhole might be able to be created. And in fact, it creates one. But it's unstable, and while they can't go through it, he's mesmerized for a moment, but it causes a fuel leak, and they're not able to return to Moya. Moya is concerned for her unborn child, and so they land on the planet's surface, and they seek out a mechanic. Apparently, Rigel had been in touch with a mechanic by the name of Furlow. Now, Furlow is played by Magda Zabinski, who was Mrs. Hoggett in Babe, among other things. She plays this role very unlike the boss's wife. She has a theory on wormholes as well, and she is one of quite a few rough edges. And an interesting character, and they intend for her to appear in a future episode. At any rate, her theory on wormholes that Crichton tries to find out more from her is about as successful as her trying to find out what he knows. Nevertheless, she agrees to work on his module without having arranged payment beforehand. That'll become a problem later in the episode. Now, these solar flares are having a positive effect on Zan. They can blind most anyone else without protective goggles. And what she experiences, she says to Rigel, she calls it a photogasm. Rigel cringes at the whole idea. Nevertheless, Dargo wants to leave the system. He's concerned about the dangers here and the ability to be found if you stay any place too long, and wants to leave, and he's going to go down to the surface and retrieve Aaron and John Wither without his module. In the meantime, John and Aaron discover a beacon that has a message from Crace that's offering a reward, a bounty for Zan and Rigel and Dargo. And that interests a pair of Vorkanian blood bounty hunters. John, realizing that they're kind of like humanoid dogs, pretends to be an alpha male and claims a fugitive for himself, and gives them perhaps a finder's fee. Their names are Rorf and Rorg. Still, they catch Dargo and force John to interrogate him in order for him not to blow his cover. They leave when they catch the scent of Zan, who has gone after Dargo, and during that time, Dargo is able to break free. The episode goes on, but what we learn in this episode is that Dargo and John are not yet friends, but during this episode they agree to be allies and to be loyal to each other in battle, and a battle does ensue in this episode. We also learn that Zan could absorb certain types of radiation. She could also shield herself by blocking her scent. Aaron, while still wishing she could return home, is really no threat to the others, as she could never be a peacekeeper again. But in the same way that John wants to try a way to return home, so does Aaron. And we see that they have in common. We're reminded once again that Luxons have to be beaten in a wound until the blood runs clear or it turns toxic and they die. John introduces himself and Aaron as Butch and Sundance of the Hole in the Sky gang. This is a play not only on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but on Jesse James' Hole in the Wall gang. He also, when he's introduced to Rorf, he says, "Worf? No, Rorf." Anyway, Rigel has little to do with this episode beyond some comic relief and a new curse word, Farbot, an accusation of mental instability, shall we say. So that's what we have this week. Thank you for watching. I'll be back for Talking Movies with Professor O on Thursday when we talk about Goldfinger. That's probably the best of the 27 James Bond films. We hope that you'll join us. But until then, don't go far.